here, remember we learned on Monday that whenever we have questions like these, step number 1 is always to what? Who can remind us in the chat? What is our step number 1?
It's to always label.
Yes, absolutely, Kat. Well done. And Desmary's also put it in the chat. Good. It's to label. All right. So we're going to answer these 3 questions. Give me sine of theta, cos of theta, and tan of theta. I'm just going to give you guys a quick hint. Okay. Remember that lovely acronym that we learned? SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA is going to help us a lot. Okay. We know SO is for sine. Ka is for cosine, and TOA is for tan or tangent. Okay, I'll give you guys 3 minutes to answer these, though I don't think they should take 3 minutes. They should probably take 1. So in the next 2 minutes, I will look at the answers for these. I don't think they're that difficult.
Ma'am.
Yes.
So, ma'am, on Monday, right, I tried rewatching the lesson again on YouTube, but I couldn't find it.
Oh, okay. It might be that they hadn't put it up yet on Monday. Okay. So it does take like sometimes 1 or 2 days before we have it up. So I'm sure if you go have a look for it today, it'll be there.
I also
But
checked it today. It
it's
said
okay.
video deleted. It said video deleted and stuff.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I'm not sure why. Okay, let me ask my team, because technically we shouldn't delete any of the videos. But because we do 2 classes, this is the 10F class and there's a 10S class. Okay, I taught the exact same thing at 10S. So if you can go look for the 10S one, it's gonna, if that one is there, then it's gonna be the exact same thing. Okay,
Okay, thanks, ma'am.
so have a look for that. All right, my darling, thank you. Okay, shall we look at some of these answers? I don't think these questions are that difficult. All right, especially when everybody's given us exactly what we need to do with this question. All right, so first thing we're going to do is label in terms of theta, because our question has theta in it. So we're going to start by labeling. Here is theta. We know that the side right next to theta, the one right next to theta, that is our adjacent side. The one furthest away, from theta, that is our opposite side. And the one that's always across from our 90-degree angle, the longest side, that is usually our hypotenuse. Okay. And then we can use these 3 things to answer the questions that we've got over here. All right. So if we look at sine of theta, we know according to SOHCAHTOA, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite over hype, which is equal to the opposite side is 4. And the hypotenuse is 5. So the opposite of a hypotenuse, that's 4 over 5. All right, that is number 1. Okay, then we're going to do cos. Now, cos is the ka, and we know cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent side is 3 over hypotenuse, which is 5. So the answer here is 3 over 5. Easy enough. Right, and then the last one that we get is tan, which is TOA, and we know TOA is opposite over adjacent. So tan is opposite over adjacent, and that is equal to our opposite side is 4, and our adjacent side is 3, 4 over 3. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, these should be easy enough. I think we started here on Monday. If you've never seen trigonometry before, this should be what you learned on Monday. Bikanyo, I can't remember if you were with us on Monday, my darling, but are you familiar with the stuff that we've done here, that I've just done on the screen? Yes? Excellent. Okay, well done. Awesome. All right, so today, guys, we're definitely going to start off with our calculators. We're going to need our calculator. So please make sure that you've got a scientific calculator, the one that has sine, cos, and tan on it, because we're going to be using our calculators to do some basic calculations, and then we're going to delve into something a little bit deeper. But before we go there, I want us to to look at something like this. If they've just given us, let's say, for instance, in a question, if they give us a 90-degree angle over there, and they call this angle over here theta, right? Now, they could easily ask you to calculate for sine of theta or for cos of theta. This is the easy stuff, right? Tan of theta. But now, if they asked you to find them the name of this angle over here, and they said, give the name of this angle in terms of theta. Okay. In terms of theta. What do you guys think would actually have to go into this triangle over here, or that angle? What would we call that angle if it had to have some sort of theta in it? Remember, this one over here is already called theta. So we need to be able to express this one over here in terms of theta. All right, what are we thinking, guys? Who's got an idea? Anybody? It is quite a challenging one. The reason I'm bringing it up is because I saw it in a test paper, in an exam paper, and I think it's something that they ask very often. Okay, so here's the thing that many of us tend to forget, especially when we get into the older grades, right? We tend to forget that sometimes the maths that they want us to do is actually maths that we learned in primary school. They're still going to ask you about primary school maths sometimes, right? And one thing we do know about this whole thing is that it's a triangle. Yes, we're all in agreement. This shape is a triangle, right? What do I know about the interior angles of a triangle?
They add up to 180 degrees.
Exactly, 100%. They add up to 180 degrees. So just for the sake of this exercise, I'm going to name this part over here X. Okay, now I know that if I take all three of these and I add them up, they're going to give me 180 degrees. So I've got X plus theta plus 90 degrees, because this is a 90-degree angle, plus 90 degrees is equal to 180 degrees, right? But now I want X all on its own. I just want to write X, but I know that in terms of theta tells me that my answer for X must have a theta in it. So I must move things around, and at the end I must get, therefore X is equal to something, and the answer that I get for X must have theta in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of this other stuff and I'm going to move it over to the other side. Let me fix this plus. Okay, so I'm going to take theta, move it over to the other side. I'm going to take 90 degrees and move it over to the other side. So what I'm going to get here is X is equal to 180 degrees minus 90 degrees minus theta. Okay, and that tells me that X is equal to, now 180 minus 90 is just going to give us 90 degrees minus theta, because we don't really know what theta is. So if we want to find this angle over here, if they've just given us theta, we now know that whatever angle we have over here is just going to be 90 degrees minus theta. Same as if they told us that this angle over here is called alpha. If they said that this angle over here is called alpha, that means the angle over here is just going to be 90 minus alpha. Okay, are we all okay with this idea? Yes? Give me a thumbs up. How are we feeling? It's a pretty simple idea, but you'll be surprised how many of you guys forget that things on the inside of a triangle equal 90 degrees. I mean, equal 180 degrees. So it's just something to bear in mind. It's going to come up again as we do more trigonometry. So remember this. It's very helpful when you're trying to find other angles and other sides in a triangle. All right. Okay, let's get into today's lesson. Does everybody have a calculator? Are we all good to go? Everybody's going to need a scientific calculator today. Okay, we're going to get started with these questions. All right, we're just going to put these questions into our calculators. There are 5 of them. I just want you guys to put these into a calculator and give me an answer. Now, number 3 is a bit of a trick question. Okay, but we'll talk about how to do that one once we're done with all of them. Pop your favorite emoji in the chat when you're ready. Okay, I'm going to put this one. That's the one I like today. All right, so when you're ready, pop your favorite emoji in the chat. Desmarie's done. How's the rest of us doing? Okay. I bet. Yeah, I know. Number 3 is like, what exactly do they want? But okay, I'll tell you what they want. It's not even that deep. I promise it's not. All right. Wikanya, are we ready, my darling? Can I get started, or should we give you a second? Okay. All right. Lovely emoji, by the way. Okay. All right, let's talk about these ones over here. So these are going to be quite easy, right? We're just going to go into our calculator. If we put sine 30 in there, we're going to get, our calculator is going to give us 1/2. That's what our calculator does. Now, this is also known as a special angle, and we're going to learn about special angles a little bit later on. Okay, it's called a special angle. And we'll talk about special angle triangles later on. Okay, so we do get some angles that are nice and easy, like 1/2. Some of them not so nice, but we do need to know them. All right, then we're going to get 2 cos 85. If we put 2 cos 85 into our calculator is going to give us 0,17. We'll just round off to 2 decimals. Okay, that one is easy enough. Now, number 3, here's what happens normally. If you take your calculator and you put into your calculator sign, and then you click the squared button, your calculator does this, and then it gives the dot and it does that, squared, right? And then you're like, Haibo, I want the squared over there and not over there. Okay, but don't panic. All your calculator is asking you to do is just to put in the 50 first and then square it. So what you're going to do on your calculator is you're just going to go sign. You're just going to click sign just like that. And then you're going to put 50 in, and then you're going to square it. And then you're going to get an answer there. And that's simply how you get an answer there. It's just going to square the whole thing. And the answer that you would get there is 0,59. Okay, that's all we needed to do. Hello, Amanda. Lovely of you to join us. Okay, that's all we needed to do. So it looks tricky. It just means square the whole thing. That's all that they mean in that particular question. All right. Tan of 60 plus 115. Yes, there we go. See, well done. Exactly. Okay, just do it exactly the way your calculator wants you to do it, and it's perfect. That's exactly what you want to do. Oh, Amanda, hi, my darling. We started on trigonometry. Can you let me know, have you done trigonometry at school yet? Just let me know. You can unmute or you can type in the chat. I'm happy to speak to you either way. Not yet. Okay, so here's what we're doing, my darling. Okay, on your calculator, do you have a scientific calculator with you? If you do, we're using these 3 lovely buttons. They've got sin, cos, tan written on it. Okay, cool. So we're going to use these 3 buttons, sin, cos, and tan, and we're going to be finding the answers here. I know it's pronounced sign, but it's pronounced sign, but it's written sin on your calculator, so that's how we're going to look at it. Okay, so we're going to get these answers when we put these things in. Remember, you don't have to put the degrees in, but Amanda, as we go, I will do a little bit of an explanation. I'm going to have to ask you, my darling, to go watch the lesson that we did on Monday, because the one I did on Monday explains everything that we're doing right now. And it might not be that easy if you're not 100% sure what's going on. Okay, but the Monday lesson really does explain. Okay, so in this last one over here, we're going to get tan 60 plus tan 15. If you put that into your calculator should just give you 2. The number 2. All right, how much did we get out of 5, guys? Let me know. How did we do out of 5? Did we do okay? 5 out of 5. Okay, Kat got 4 out of 5. It's number 3, isn't it? Yeah, number 3 is quite tricky, but it's okay. We've now figured out what to do with number 3. Okay. All right, which is perfectly fine. We now know. Okay, let's look at the next set of questions that we're going to look at. All right, now, in this question over here, I want you guys to note that they've given us the answer. Do you see how they've given us the answer? They're like, sine of theta equals a half. But the question here says, determine the value of theta. Just theta. And do we remember, what did we say theta stands for? What is theta exactly? What is theta? Or beta, or alpha? What exactly does that stand for? Correct, Desmarie, absolutely. It stands for the angle. So what they actually want us to find is the angle. And whenever we need to find the angle, what do we click on our calculator? I told you guys I'm going to make it trend because we're going to use it so often. Whenever they want us to find an angle, what do we click? On your calculator? Anybody remember my funky word, the one that I'm going to make trend so hard on TikTok? It's called a shift angle. A shift angle. Okay. I need to figure out a way to make it into a cool song. Some way it must turn into a cool song. All right. Okay. So whenever they ask you for an angle, what you're going to do on your calculator is you're first going to click shift. We're all going to shift first and then click what we're looking for. So in this case, because we want theta, we're going to write this out this way. We're going to go theta is equal to. Now, if you click shift on your calculator, this is what your calculator is going to do. You're going to click shift and then sine, and then your calculator is going to do this, sine to the -1. Right, but it's not actually sine to the -1. We call it arc sine. Its actual name is arc sine. Okay, it's just the way we find the angle. It's not really the inverse, because the inverse of a half would actually be 2. So we don't call it the inverse of sine. We call it arc sine. So sine of that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put the 1/2 in. So you're going to go shift sine of 1/2. Close the brackets. Please remember to close the bracket. Otherwise, your calculator is going to give you an error. It's going to give you an error. Okay. Close the bracket and then click equals. Tell me, what does your calculator say? Punch that into your calculator. I can see Buikanyo's got an answer for me. Therefore, theta is equal to, I can read your lips. Don't even stress. I can see it. It's 30. Good. It's 30. But remember, it's an angle. So we can't just say 30. 30 what?
30.
That's it. Absolutely. Well done. Well done, Kat and Buikanyo. I can read your lips, my darling. I see you perfectly. Good. 30 degrees. Good. So we mustn't forget to write the degrees there. Okay. Are we all good on how to answer the rest of these? Okay. I want us to answer questions 2 and question 3. And then we're going to work together on question 4 and 5, because these are a little bit trickier. Okay. Question 4 and question 5 are a little bit trickier. So answer questions 2 and 3 for me. Okay, using the same method. Again, they want they want theta. So we must shift and then click cos and then put 3/4 in, shift tan and then put 1 in. Okay, and shift tan of 1 is going to give you a very interesting answer. Oh. It's another special angle that we're going to look at. Yes, we are going to round off the decimals. We're going to 2 decimals for me, please, my darling. Okay. Amanda, how are we doing? Is this okay? Are you able to follow what we're doing so far? Okay, excellent, excellent work. All right, cool stuff. Okay, it was just 2 questions, guys. So let's just have a look quickly at what we would get. All right, so for arc cos, for the second one over here, I'm going to get theta is equal to arc cos. I know it says cos -1, but we pronounce it arc cos. Arc cos of 3/4. And that tells me that theta is equal to 41,41 degrees. Do not forget the degrees, guys. Okay, lovely. And then for number 3 over here, again, I'm going to go theta is equal to arc tan of 1, and therefore theta is equal to 45 degrees. Okay, and that one is nice and easy. We can see that one. We've got our nice answers over there for these. All right, now in these next questions over here, right, we're going to note that our sine theta is not sitting on its own. But we need to remember, guys, whenever we're solving for these kinds of questions, we want to make sure that cos and theta are on their own, tan and theta are on their own, sine and theta are on their own. Now, the problem I'm having over here is that in front of this sine, there's a 2. How can I get rid of that 2 over there? What can I do? Think of any equation. If you were solving for an equation, how would I get rid of that 2 in front?
I can divide it by 2.
Absolutely. I can divide by 2 on both sides. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to divide by 2 here, and I'm going to divide by 2 on this side. And those 2 will cancel. So now what I actually have is sine of theta is equal to 2 divided by 2 will give me 1. But remember, I still want theta. I don't want sine of theta. So I still now need to go, theta is equal to arc sine of 1. Therefore, theta is equal to, find me an answer for that quick, my darling. Don't mute, Cat. Give me an answer. Give me an answer.
It's 90
Absolutely, it's 90 what? 90 what?
degrees.
Degrees. Thank you. Do not forget the degrees. Lovely. Well done, my darling. Excellent work. All right. I want you guys to go ahead and do this one. I want you guys to note in number 5, there is a 5 in front of my tan theta. So that 5 needs to go away. Okay. So do what you need to do with that 5 before you give me an answer. You can pop your answers in the chat for me, please. Tell me, how much are we getting for that last one? Can pop your answers in the chat for me. Okay, we Ganya's all done. Everyone else, I'm sure we're all done, hey? Don't think this one is that difficult. We're going to divide by 5, divide by 5. So the 5s will cancel. So I'm then going to get tan of theta is equal to 3 over 5. So theta is equal to arctan of 3 over 5. Therefore, theta is equal to 30,96 degrees. All right. And that's what we should get. All right. Are we all happy, peeps? All good? Okay. I have to step it up a notch. And I know Desmarie doesn't like it when I do that because like she'll be fine with things and then I'll start complicating her life. It's fine. It's going to be okay. I promise. Okay. Okay. I need to start complicating our lives just a little bit because this is a little too easy for grade 10. Okay. I'm sorry, my darling. Okay, let's look at what happens when they give us a diagram, right? And they don't, I know, Amanda, doesn't it? At first glance, it looks very hard, but I need you to just stick with me. Stick with me. I'm going to make it so nice. It's going to be so great. Okay, so let's say, for instance, they give us a drawing, right? And they give us that we have 30 degrees over here. 30 degrees over here. This is obviously 90 degrees. And they tell us that this is 60 degrees. And then they tell us, okay, this is, this will be 1, 2, and this is going to be the square root of 3. Okay, I'm writing that from memory. Okay, so we have this over here, right? And then the question says to us, determine cos of 30 degrees, right? Cos of 30 degrees. Now, they've given us a whole lot of stuff, right? So they want to know, if they ask us for cos of 30 degrees, they've already given us the angle. So they're definitely not asking for the angle. They want us to give them the ratio, right? But now at the moment, we don't know where cos is. We don't know where sine is. We don't know where anything is. All we know is that we've got a drawing. But lucky for us, we have step number one. What is step number one, guys?
To label.
Absolutely. It's to label. And if we label, that's going to make our lives so much easier because we're then going to be able to use the drawing we've been given to give them exactly what it is they want. All right, so we're going to start with 30 degrees. Now, because this says it wants cos of 30 degrees, we're going to start at 30 degrees and we're going to go the side right next to 30 degrees. That is the adjacent side. Always the one right next to it. The one across on the other side, that is our opposite side. And the one across from our 90 degrees, that is our hypotenuse. Then we're going to make a mental note because, guys, your teachers don't actually do this for you. You're going to have to get used to writing this on the corner of your paper. So, ka, toa. All right. And Amanda, I know Sokato, you're about to ask me, hi, but ma'am, what's going on? I'm going to explain in just a second. All right. So in order for, when we're labeling like this Sokato actually comes into play in that this S over here stands for that sign that we see on our calculator. C stands for cos and T stands for tan. All of those on our calculator, right? Now, what the O and the A and the O tell us. Yes, you need to do mental notes. Yes, it's so true. Always, always, always mental notes. All right, so this OH tells me that sine is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. And that's why we label so that we know where this is going. All right, and the AH over here stands for adjacent over hypotenuse. So when we write the answer for this, it's written as a ratio, one number over the other. All right, so this one over here is going to be opposite over adjacent. Okay, can I ask you guys, does anybody know the answer for cos of 30 for me? You can unmute and give me the answer just by looking at the drawing because I've already kind of, put it out nicely for you guys. Tell me, what would cos of 30 degrees be?
It would be the square root of 3 over 2.
Beautiful, absolutely. The square root of 3 over 2, because cos is adjacent, which is the square root of 3, over the hypotenuse, which is 2. Beautiful. So now I say to you guys, I want the tan of 60 degrees. What is the tan of 60 degrees going to be?
Is it the square root of 3 over 1?
Yes, absolutely. But how did you get there, Kat? Because you didn't use what's on the drawing at the moment. Yes?
I used
What did you
the
first?
the abbreviation Sokatoa, right? So
Yes.
I used TOA, which
Okay.
is
TOA, but at the moment, TOA would give you 1 over root 3.
okay. I can remember we're looking for the tan of 60 degrees, right? So we're going to label again.
That's the word I was looking for. What's the first step? We must always what?
Label.
We must label first, absolutely, because these labels are wrong. Those labels are for 30 degrees. So we must start by labeling for 60 degrees first. Absolutely. Good. Label for me, Kat. This one is called the what?
The adjacent side.
Adjacent is the one right next to 60 degrees. And that one over there?
Is the opposite side.
Good. The opposite, and the hypotenuse is not going to change. Beautiful. Good. So when we look for tan of 60, what are we going to get? That's opposite over adjacent. So that is?
The square root of 3 over 2. Over 1. Over 1.
Over 1. Good. Opposite over adjacent. Over 1. Beautifully said, my darling. 1. Excellent work. All right, give me a thumbs up, everyone. Are we okay with this? Kat, are you cool with this? I feel like you've got this down pat, my darling. Well done. Are you good?
Yes, I'm good. It's just that I didn't write it down, so I was just looking at it and answering.
Absolutely. Look, if your brain can make that leap, it's fine. But there is gonna come a time where we start complicating things by adding more than one triangle. So we must remember to label. Otherwise, we're gonna get confused at some point. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
No worries. Okay, good job, by the way. Good job. Well done. All right, cool. Here is your next exercise. We're going to do questions 1 and 2. I want you guys to use what they've given us over here to to answer for each of these. Over here, they're asking for tan of A. So we're going to have to label in terms of A. Over here, they want sine of X. So we're going to have to label in terms of X. And just to be nice, I'm going to write it again for you. So here is your mental note, Desmarie. So katoa, just for you, your mental note. Right. Actually, I think I'm going to bring these other 2 up as well so we can see all 4 of them, because these are the 4 that we're going to do. Okay. There we go. All right, we're going to do questions 1, 2, 3, and 4. When you're ready, pop your answer or pop your favorite emoji in the chat for me, please. How are we doing, guys? All good? Shame. I should give you guys some time. I already have them pre-made, and I'm sure you guys have to draw them in before you can answer the questions. So I'll give you guys some time. Picanyo's all done. Well done, my darling. Okay, we'll give everybody else 1 more minute and then we'll get started. All right, okay. We're going to run out of time, guys. So let's have a look at these questions really quickly. Okay, so for the first one over here, we're going to label this this triangle in terms of the angle A. So this angle over here, A. So I know that the one right next to this 24 over here is the adjacent side. The side furthest away over there, that is the opposite side. And the 40 over here is the hypotenuse. Okay, that's the first thing I'm going to do. Right, now I have my labels. I can then answer the question tan of A is equal to, now I know that tan is opposite, which is 32, over adjacent, which is 24. Okay, we can leave it like this, or we can even, we can make it smaller. We can divide both the bottom and the top by 8, and that's going to give us 4/3. You can do that, or you can leave it the way it is. I don't think it would be a problem, but just to be on the safe side, maybe make it a smaller fraction. Put it into your calculator and make it a smaller fraction. Okay. All right, let's do this one over here. This one says x. It wants us to label in terms of the angle x. So here's x over here. I know that the side right next to it over here is the adjacent side. Adjacent. 15 over there is the opposite side, and 25 over here is the hypotenuse. Okay, and I know that sine, according to SOHCAHTOA, is opposite over hypotenuse. Now my opposite side is 15 over hypotenuse, which is 25. And I know I can divide both the top and the bottom by 5. So I'm going to get 3/5. There we go. All right. Okay, let's look at cos of A over here, number 3. Okay, we want to label in terms of angle A. This 30 right next to it, this is the adjacent side. 40 on the all the way on the other side, that's the opposite. And the one across from the right-angled triangle, that is the hypotenuse. Okay, so I know that cos, according to SOHCAHTOA, is adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent is 30 over 50 hypotenuse, and I can divide both the top and the bottom by 10. So I'm going to get 3/5. That's the answer. I'll get there. All right. Then last one over here wants tan in terms of the angle Z. So we're going to label in terms of Z. 48 over here, this is our adjacent side. 14 over there is our opposite side. And 50 is our hypotenuse. Okay. And tan is opposite over adjacent. So the opposite is 14 over adjacent, which is 48. And I believe I can divide both the bottom and the top by 4. No, not by 4. Let's start with 2 and let's see what happens. So I'm going to get 7/24. Yeah, and I can't go any further because 7 is a prime number and it doesn't go into, say, 24. So that's the final answer. Tell me, how much did we get out of 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. If you didn't simplify the fractions, that's fine. You can still give yourself the mark, but just let me know how we did in terms of labeling and in terms of finding the correct answers. Are we all good here? Kat got 3. Kat, do we know where we kind of sort of didn't get it? Some of them are tricky, especially when we flip the triangles to look in a different direction. We need to be very careful there.
Yeah, it was the fourth one. The fourth one.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it does get quite tricky. Okay, we just need to remember the reference angle that they're giving us. But it's all good. I know you got this. Don't even stress it. Well done. Okay. Okay, let's step it up again. A little bit more. A little bit more. It's okay. It's okay, my darling. It's okay, Amanda. We're still learning. So, and this is the place to make mistakes. So don't stress it at all. Okay. We're going to step it up a little bit. Now, I want you guys to note over here, right, that these questions just want us to solve for X. It just wants us to solve for X. Now, it doesn't actually give us anything. It doesn't tell us about a sine, a cos, a tan. It doesn't tell us anything. It just says solve for X. But we all know, for posterity's sake, let's just put the SOHCAHTOA here. We know it's coming, right? Now, this part of it makes it a little bit more difficult for us to kind of figure out exactly where we're going with a question, especially when we don't know what they want from us here. Okay, but they have given us a couple of things that we can work with here. First thing they've given us, let's look at this question over here. First thing they've given us is they've given us an angle and they've given us one of the sides. And we're definitely looking for a side. So we're going to now extend the steps that we used to take in order to answer for questions like these. All right. Step number 1. Somebody tell me again for the 100 millionth time. What is our step number 1? Always, always. Yes, Picanho, I see it. Yes, absolutely, Amanda. Good. It's label. We're definitely going to label. That's what we're going to do first. Step number 1 is to label. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to this first triangle over here, and we've got 54. So whatever angle they give us, that's what we're going to use to label. Use the angle you've been given to label. So here's what I'm going to find. I'm going to find that this 12 over here is right next to the 54 degrees. So this makes this my adjacent side. And then that side over there, that X, where the X is, that is my opposite side. And I know that the one across from my right angle triangle, that is going to be my hypotenuse. Okay, so there, I've labeled step number 1, done. Step number 2 for us is we're going to write down what we have. Let me write it out properly, actually. I'm going to write down what I have versus what I want. Okay. And it's going to make sense in just a little bit. All right, let me show you. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go, what do I have? I have the angle 54. I'm going to say I've got the angle 54 degrees. And they've also given me the adjacent side. So I have 54 degrees and I have the adjacent side, right? Now, what do I want? What I want, according to my drawing, is I want the opposite side. I want the opposite side. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Now, for step number 3, we're going to write an equation. Let's write an equation. Now, here's how we're going to figure out what the equation does. Our have and want is going to tell us exactly which one of the SOHCAHTOAs to use. Do you guys see how here I have the adjacent and the opposite? Between SOHCAH and TOA, which one of them uses the opposite and the adjacent? Sine, cos, or tan? SOHCAH or TOA? Absolutely, Biganyo. Yes, beautiful. I see you say it. Yes, I can see you saying it. It's tan. 100%. It's tan because tan uses opposite and adjacent. So in order for us to write our equation, we're going to use tan. We know that tan of theta is equal to opposite over adjacent, right? So what we're going to do now is we're just going to put the things in that we have, and then we're going to solve for the unknown. All right, so I'm going to start with tan. I'm going to go tan of, I know my angle. I know my angle is 54. So I'm going to go tan of 54 degrees is equal to my opposite side is X over my adjacent side, which is 12. Right? X over 12. So now I'm solving for X, right? like we would any other equation. Like if we were solving for a linear equation, I know that I want to get rid of this 12 in the denominator. How do I get rid of the 12 in the denominator, guys? If I was solving for a linear equation, what would I do? I would cross multiply, right? I would cross multiply. Yes, Kat, was that what you were going to say? We're going to cross
Yes.
multiply. Yes, we're going to cross multiply. I can put this over 1, and then I'm just going to cross multiply that. 12 will go that side, and 1 times x is just going to give us x. Right, so what I'm going to have is x is equal to 12 times tan of 54 degrees. All right, and then I know that I can find x. Therefore, x is equal to, I'm just going to pick up my calculator, and I'm going to put that in, and it's going to give me an answer. All right. Tell me what it gives me. 12, tan of 54 degrees. What do we get as an answer there?
16,52.
Beautiful. 16,52. All right. And that's how we do this question. It gets a little bit more complicated because they don't tell us which of the ratios to use. But if we use Teacher Coco's 3 steps, we're going to get this one. Kat, I know you're already unmuted, my darling. Do you want to do number 6 with me? Okay. Yes?
Okay.
Okay. It's not going to be difficult, I promise. Let's start step number 1. What is step number 1?
We have to label.
Okay, excellent. So I've got my angle over here at 58. Label for me. Tell me what is what. Which side is equal to what side?
So the side that has x will be the adjacent side.
Beautiful. This is the
Then
adjacent.
the side facing the right angle will be the hypotenuse. Then the
Beautiful.
other
That one, yes. And then the empty side, that one is going to be our
opposite side.
beautiful. That's our opposite side. Excellent. Good work. Right. Step number 1, done. Okay. Let's talk about have and want. What do we have? Tell me, what do I have?
I have my hypotenuse.
Good. I have my hypotenuse. And what else did they give me?
Oh, they also gave me the adjacent side, which is x.
Oh, no, I don't know what the adjacent side is. They've given me the hypotenuse and they've given me my what? The angle, right?
Oh, yes.
They've
Yeah.
given us the angle, right? Yes. And Bikanya, absolutely. Can I ask you to do the next one for me? Okay, cool. All right. Bikanya's going to do the next one for me. Good. They've given me, I have my 58 degrees and my hypotenuse. Kat, what do I want? Which side do I want?
I want the adjacent side, which
Absolutely,
is x.
I want the adjacent side, which is x. Beautiful. Good. So now step number 2, done. Step number 3 is to find an equation. Tell me, which equation uses the adjacent and the hypotenuse? So, kata or sine, cos or tan?
It's cos.
Yes, absolutely, it's cos. And we know that cos of theta is equal to what?
Is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse.
Excellent. Good. Now all we need to do is just replace all of the things. Yes?
Yes.
Let's replace them. Good. Replace for me. Tell me, what am I going to write?
You're going to write cos 58 degrees will equals to x over 18.
Beautiful. Good. What's my next step?
So we're going to cross multiply.
Excellent.
So we can make it cos over 1.
That's it. Good. Then we're going to get therefore x is equal to
18 cos 58 degrees.
Ah, well done. Absolutely. And then you can just find me x, please, my darling. X is equal to, look at you. And you were like, ma'am, what am I doing? Look, you've done it. Absolutely, you've done it. Well done.
X equals to 9,54.
Beautifully said, my darling.
Okay,
Good
yeah.
work. How nice does that feel to get it right? Hey, it's like mwah, just gold. Well done. Well done, Kat. Amazing work. Sure. All right. Tell me, guys, how are we feeling? Are we okay with how to do these questions? Right? It's nice and easy when we use the steps, guys. Don't sleep on my steps. They're very important. Okay. Yeah. Bikanyo, do you want to do the next one for us, please, my darling? Dismarie, it doesn't get any more complicated than this. This is what we're going to use every single time. Okay. All right. Bikanyo, do you want to unmute or do you want to type in the chat? What's best for you? Whatever you feel like, my darling. Okay. Amanda's still like in the middle. It's okay. All right. Shall we? Okay. I can read your lips. So if you want to speak to me by just being very, very explicit so I can read your lips, is that fine? Can we do that? Okay, cool. All right. Tell me, Bikanyo, what is step number 1? Absolutely, label. Okay, so you're going to label for me. So tell me, this is my angle, right? What do we call this side right next to my angle? It's the?
Adjacent.
Absolutely, it's the adjacent. Yes, my darling. The 16, what do we call the 16?
16 is going to be opposite.
Yes, absolutely opposite. And then over there, that one across from the
Hypotenuse.
absolutely, that's the hypotenuse. Well done, my darling. That's step number 1 done. I'm now erasing the wrong thing. This is what I want to erase. Good. Step number 1 done. What is step number 2? Step number 2 is to find what we have
and what you want.
Beautiful. Good. What do we have?
We have 31 degrees as our
Yeah.
angle.
Good. And
Our opposite.
yes, they've given us the opposite. Good. Yes, they've given us the opposite side. Right. What do we want? Which side do we want? Where's the X? Where's the X? Nice one, Desmarie.
The X is at hypotenuse.
Absolutely. So we want the hypotenuse. Good. And then just to help out, I'm going to write so katoa, and we're out of time. Oh my goodness. All right. So tell me, Wikanyo, which equation are we going to use if we want to use the opposite and the hypotenuse? Sine, cos, or tan?
Sine.
Absolutely, sine. So I know that sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. All right.